Now, normally you can't trust your Twitch chat with literally anything, putting together a sentence, a common thought. You can't trust them to do it. So what I decided to do with my common sense was let them create a Five Nights at Freddy's game tier list. Now, before I show you this tier list, I just want to let you know the other small games like Fury's Rage, Freddy in Space, I didn't add those to the tier list because a lot of people haven't played them. So I didn't add them into the overall picture. I know some of you probably played them. You're like, oh, those are great games. What? How'd you not add them? They haven't played them. Majority of people haven't played them. So when I show you the tier list, understand they are not in there. Now, the other thing I do want to show you before you look at this tier list is, for some reason, they like Five Nights at Freddy's 2. It's a weird thing within my community that I'm the only one that doesn't like Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I despise the game. I think it's awful. I think there's only one good thing in the entire game, and it's the fact that they brought in lore and, the post cutscenes. Besides that, I hate the game. I think it's awful. I hate the music box. I hate the fact of the cameras, the lights. Foxy never seems satisfied. I've never seen an animatronic that I can't figure out. There's Nightmare in Five Nights at Freddy's 4 that still pisses me off to this day, and then there's Foxy in FNAF 2. I do not understand how he works. I could have a flashlight, stick it in his eye, flash it in his eyes for 3 to 4 hours, and he will still attack me the second I look away. So when I show you this list, just understand they love FNAF 2, okay? They love FNAF 2, but I'll pop up the tier list now. Okay, initial reaction to this tier list, you might be thinking, wow, Sister Location in the good tier. Sister Location is a great game, and if you think otherwise, you obviously don't know my channel. My main channel, Sandwichly, I made an entire video talking about why I like Sister Location, so you might be wondering, why do I defend it? I think it's a great game. You might disagree. We had a little bit of a discussion in my Twitch chat, and that's why I ended up in the good tier. You also might be noticing FNAF World and FNAF AR, they're in the terrible tier. Now, some people love FNAF World. I don't know why, but they do. I'll just say this, to clear the air before, FNAF World is a bad game. I voted bad. It was the rest of my community that voted terrible and said they hated the game. However, many of them actually played the game, I don't know, but in my personal opinion, I think it's a bad game. It's not my favorite game. I don't think it's that good, to be honest with you. I think it's really overhyped, but I will say FNAF AR being in terrible has to be unanimous, the most agreed thing in the Five Nights at Freddy's community. If you defend FNAF AR being a good or great game, I don't know what to tell you. The only thing that I can tell you is you really need help. It is such a bad game, a cash grab. It is awful. I don't know how you like this game. Even the lore that this game offers is not even good because of the fact that there's so many emails that we don't know what to do with them. So you could like FNAF AR and be like, oh, well, the emails are great. No, you can't trust the emails. I'm sorry, you can't trust them. So FNAF AR being in a terrible tier, we all agreed upon it. I think it literally was unanimously voted, got 100% of the votes. Everyone hated that game. Now to cover the bad tier, Security Breach being in bad, I think you can't really disagree with that. That game had literally the most potential out of any other FNAF game and still managed to fall face flat. I think it's agreed. It's bad. You could argue it's good because it did receive some patches, but even when I play the game, I still get so many glitches and so many bugs. So I think it deserves the bad tier rating that it got. FNAF 3 in bad tier. I think it's a good game. I don't think it deserves to be in bad, but they decided to put it in bad, so that's what got moved into the bad tier. Now on to the good tier. Sister Location, I already mentioned. I love the game. We had to kind of agree on it. Next up, FNAF 1. FNAF 1, I do have to say, it's a good game. I did have some people telling me that it was a great game, and I've had people telling me it's a great game. I don't think so. I think it's not. I think it's a good game. It's a very good game. It's average. It's the basis of FNAF. You can't say you hate it because you obviously love FNAF, so I think it deserves the good tier. As I said before, FNAF 2, I don't know why. My community just loves this game. I hate it. I think it's awful, and I've literally told them that it could be a reward at some point where if I hit a certain sub goal, I will try to finish FNAF 2. I hate the game. I don't want to play it, but I guess if they want to see me on a live stream play it, I'll play it. But honestly, I do not like this game. I think it's bad. I think it's awful. Luckily, Rytoast agrees with me. Made an entire video about it. I might at some point do that, but FNAF 2, I don't like it. Now, Ultimate Custom Night is kind of the wild card in this because I feel like Ultimate Custom Night is the most mid game ever. It is literally the most middle of the pack average game. If I made an average tier for this, I might make an average tier literally just for this game. It is quite literally the most mid game. It's not too great from a gameplay perspective. It's like a challenge, but I mean, if you like the challenge of the FNAF games, it's great for you. Or if you like the lore, I mean, it has a ton of really cool death lines and everything. I'm working on a video about the death lines, so I think Ultimate Custom Night is just the most middle ground game ever. It has some good gameplay. It has some good lore. It just meets like right in the middle. Like it's perfectly right in the middle. Now on to the great tier. FNAF 6 being in the great tier, I don't really agree with. I think FNAF 6 was a good game. I don't think it's great. I don't think it meets the qualifications of being a great game. So I semi-agree with this one. I voted good. I think it's a good game, but my community, they love FNAF 6 apparently, so it got put in the great tier. I think it's a good game. I don't really think it deserves that great tier though, so that's really just up to your own opinion. FNAF Help Wanting being a great game, I do see some people saying like that's not fair, it's a remake of the rest. Listen, it's in VR, it's FNAF in VR. We have wanted FNAF in VR for freaking forever, so to say that FNAF being in Help Wanted isn't really like a valid argument, I think that's kind of dumb because Five Nights at Freddy's being a scary game and then putting a scary game in VR, and especially with the quality and I think like glitch trap and that whole like the cassette tapes, it literally, they remastered FNAF and they made it better. Quite honestly, they made it better. So I think that it being in the great tier, it's up to your own opinion. I think that it's a good game. I think it's a great game, honestly. I voted great. I think it's awesome. I don't really see any great arguments stating that it's bad. So I do think that it's a great game. And I actually agree with my Twitch chat on that. Good job, Twitch chat. We actually agree on something. Now, my Twitch chat decided to vote that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the greatest Five Nights at Freddy's game of all time. I agree with this. I think that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 perfectly caps off audio horror. The designs of the characters are quite literally horrifying, and the audio nightmare, Nightmare Fredbear, the story and the cutscenes of the crying child, I think it quite literally is one of the greatest Five Nights at Freddy's games ever. The box is still something that's talked about today. I think that this could be considered, and I think it is, whether you want to argue if it's the greatest, I think it's the greatest Five Nights at Freddy's game of all time. I think it really deserves that title. Now, I did get into a discussion with someone on Twitter, and they stated that Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was trying too hard to be scary. They were reacting to my tier list, and I just want to say this to that regards. Yes, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was trying hard to be scary because FNAF 3 was a common complaint was that it wasn't scary. People said, oh, FNAF 3 wasn't scary, I didn't find it difficult, I find it very boring and bland. And this was Scott's response to all of that. This was his plan to correct the FNAF franchise, I guess, in a sense. He wanted to really fix it. I mean, the complaints were so bad that he planned to make 3 games. Scott made 3 games and was like, all right, I think I'm done. But the complaining about, it not being scary and not being satisfying literally brought him out of retirement to make the 4th game. So I agree with my community on this one. You might disagree what's the greatest. Comment down below how you feel. But I will say, I think it is the greatest. I think it perfectly culminates FNAF. And I think that it being the original 4 games, FNAF 4 was the perfect ending and the perfect send-off, to be honest with you. I think it was great. I think it was perfect, and I think it was brilliant. Now, let me tell you, as far as this tier list as a whole, I don't agree with all of it. I do definitely think that there's some things that need to be adjusted, but I will say, I'm surprised that my Twitch chat was able to put a semi-coherent list together. Now, you might be wondering, you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. But I just want to say, a lot of people ask me why I didn't put a middle tier, and I just want to say, I feel like if I put too many options in this, it would dilute, like, the voting. So I feel like by putting 4 options, it makes it more of a streamlined process. That's why I did 4 options. In the future, maybe I'll do another poll of these when we get more viewers and more people on the channel. Then we'll do this again, and we'll see, how things have changed and compare it. But I think as of right now, this is, I guess, Twitch chat putting together a cohesive storyline narrative. I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't know how to feel about it. I think it's all right. I would give it, you're pushing me, but I'll give it like a B. I'll give it a B minus. That's what I'll give it. All right, that's what I'll give it. Fine. That's what they'll get out of me. Now, I just want to say, if you guys do want to join in on any of the other fun stuff I have going on the channel, twitch.tv/sandwichly, if you guys want to see this all live, or if you want to watch some pretty fun videos on my main channel, Sandwichly, go ahead and click that in the description. That's a great channel to check out, and that's actually where you should go next. Bye-bye, catch y'all later.